Hello, friends. We're going to take a look at Trump's appeal to certain blocks of voters. Let's get right into it.
Back to his campaign through his presidency and in some of his comments around these protests now, in some of the same ways as previous Republican leaders, Richard Nixon comes to mind, how much has the message around race and law and order changed on the right, in your view, from the 1960s to today?
I mean, it's a really fascinating question, right? So we've seen calls for law and order as a kind of racial dog whistle. It's been a part of the discourse of being tough on crime. It's been part of this way of appealing to white grievance and white fear and white resentment. That has been in some ways a kind of mobilizing trope of our body politic for as long as I can remember remembering. Donald Trump is a caricature of that, right? So he doesn't dog whistle. Donald Trump blows foghorns. In fact, he doesn't whistle at all. He just spits on people. And so I think it's really important for us to see this as a logical extension, not just simply of Pat Buchanan and George Wallace and Strom Thurmond, but to see Donald Trump's invocation of the silent majority, the forgotten Americans, this invocation of being tough on crime, law and order president, and the like, the threat to suburbs by this invading infestation, as he might describe it. All of these are tropes that we've heard from the 1960s through the 70s and 80s and 90s up to this moment. So I think it's important to see Donald Trump as a continuation of a particular form of American politics. And let's just remember, it's not just a Republican story.
Over the last few days, a conversation about Donald Trump, who has said his criminal indictments and mugshot have endeared him to black voters. It's been everywhere, even creating topics for some of our fellow news networks. So we talked about President Biden's enthusiasm problem among black Americans. But the flip side of that coin is this, the appeal of Donald Trump to certain black voters. So let's talk about that with Coleman Hughes. He has joined us on stage. He's a podcast host and CNN political analyst whose new book, The End of Race Politics, Arguments for a Colorblind America, is available now. I'm always fascinated by the term colorblind. I always wonder, Coleman, is that possible? Also joining us is CNN senior political commentator Van Jones is here. Great to have you guys here.
Awesome.
Coleman, let's start with you. What do you make of the president's comments? I hear you see things a little differently.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're offensive. I'm not going to punch anyone in the face, but that doesn't mean they're right either. So if you look at it, Donald Trump's been gaining steam amongst black voters since prior to 2020. The polls from 2022, before the first indictment, actually showed him picking up a lot of steam too. Mm-hmm. So whatever the trend is, it's probably not the indictments. It's probably a dissatisfaction with Democrats in general. You also look at him polling against other Republicans.
But he named the
also
indictments
polling well
specifically,
with black,
though.
Right, so
he named the indictments.
He named them. So I don't think he's right about that, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think the indictment is what is drawing black voters towards him.
What do you
think it is? It's clearly something else.
What do you think it is?
Well, I think, frankly, it could just be that, first of all, this trend is a lot of younger black voters. Basically, it's black men under 30 that are moving towards the Republican Party, black men basically my age. And it could just be a general dissatisfaction with the message that the Democratic Party is telling black people. They're telling black people essentially, nothing is your fault, it's all systemic racism, and that's actually not appealing to a lot of younger men. Younger men prefer to be told your life is in your own control and you can make your own destiny.
Why don't you think it's offensive? I think that's interesting. You said, I don't think it's offensive.
You said it was wrong. So
I think it's incorrect.
Okay. He didn't say it was wrong.
But it doesn't offend me as an idea.
Yeah.
The idea in theory that people would rally behind Trump because he's being unfairly persecuted and that resonates with black people's feeling of being unfairly persecuted, that's not offensive to me in theory. I just don't think it's the actual reason why people are going towards him. It has nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I was offended. I appreciate your point. I was offended.
I was offended too.
But maybe it's a generational thing. I agree with what you're saying, that he does kind of have this kind of outlaw image that's going on now, and that might be somewhat appealing. But I think in his mind, he associates black people with criminality. Mm-hmm. So I think in his mind, what he did with the Central Park Five and that sort of stuff. So to me, it was a tell. Just the same way that he said the new Republican contender for one of the governorships is Dr. King times 10. Mm-hmm. This guy's not a civil rights guy at all, but he's black. And so you can see in his mind, crime, Dr. King, crime, Dr. King, black. So I was offended by that. But
the truth about Trump's latest move. Donald Trump, a name synonymous with larger-than-life personas, has always been a magnet for media attention. From his business empire to his political endeavors, he has remained a figure of global interest. Rising to fame through real estate, Trump built an empire that spans skyscrapers, hotels, and golf courses. His brand became a symbol of luxury and ambition, a testament to his larger-than-life vision. Trump's foray into television with The Apprentice further solidified his public image. The show portrayed him as a decisive leader, capable of making tough decisions, and captivated audiences worldwide. In 2016, Trump shifted gears to politics, launching a presidential campaign that defied conventional norms. His straightforward, often controversial rhetoric struck a chord with many Americans feeling disenfranchised. Winning the presidency, Trump promised to make America great again, focusing on economic reform, immigration, and national security. His tenure was marked by significant policy shifts and international attention. The Trump administration saw a mix of triumphs and challenges. Tax reforms, deregulation, and a strong stock market were notable achievements, while controversies and impeachment trials marked his time in office. Internationally, Trump's approach was unconventional. His direct diplomacy with North Korea, trade wars with China, and renegotiation of NAFTA showcased his preference for bold, unorthodox methods. Trump's stance on immigration led to significant changes, including the construction of the border wall. These policies sparked heated debates and highlighted the deep divisions within American society. The COVID-19 pandemic posed unprecedented challenges for Trump. His administration's response, including Operation Warp Speed, aimed at fast-tracking vaccine development, received mixed reviews. As the 2020 election approached, Trump's campaign was vigorous, but the nation was deeply polarized. The election outcome led to claims of voter fraud, culminating in the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. Post-presidency, Trump remains a significant influence within the Republican Party. His endorsements and rallies continue to shape political discourse, indicating his enduring impact on American politics. Trump's legacy is a subject of intense debate. Supporters hail him as a transformative leader, while critics view his tenure as divisive and contentious, reflecting the polarized state of modern America. Despite the controversies, Trump's impact on the political landscape is undeniable. His ability to galvanize a substantial portion of the electorate underscores his continued relevance. Love him or loathe him, Donald Trump's journey from real estate mogul to president to political influencer is a testament to his unique brand of charisma and resilience. His story is far from over.